Ready. Play.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whatever time it is in the world, wherever you are tuning in from. If it appears that I may seem a little bit jaded, does it seem like it's gone 1 o'clock in the morning where I am? Well, that's because it is gone 1 o'clock in the morning where I am, but you know what? I don't want to let you guys down. You want to hear from Nostradamus around about 36 hours away from the draw. So, no, not the draw. We've already had the draw. From the actual tournament itself getting underway. So, let's get serious. Let's get down to it. Let's do the French Open Men Singles 2023. I would do this, but this doesn't work, so we just do this. Hey presto, je ne sais quoi, as they may say in France, je ne sais pas, I don't know. Anyway, we have Carlos Alcaraz against Flavio Cobolli. Cobolli, of course, is a qualifier. And guess what? Can you guess who I'm going to have going through to the next round? Yes, Carlos Alcaraz. Call me crazy. Call me nuts. Call me whatever you want. But I am having Carlos Alcaraz going through. Christopher O'Connell against Tara Daniel. I remember, did he play Rafa Nadal in the first round a year ago? I get my Mackenzies and my O'Connells muddled up, but I'm pretty sure these two met. I'm going to go for Tara Daniel to win that encounter. Galan. I have a friend, by the way, called Galan, but nevertheless, I'm going for Arnaldi to go through. Nakashima Shapovalov. This one is much trickier, partly because I have very little faith in either player. Nevertheless, I'm going to go with Shapovalov to progress. Here, I have a bit more conviction. Talking to convictions, Ymer might be on the verge of one of those, but we'll talk about that some other day. Let's go with Musetti, therefore, to win. I think it's going to be a really tricky opponent for someone in rounds 2 and potentially 3. Let's go for Oscar Otter over Shevchenko. Shevchenko, of course, of other fame. Lucas Pouille, which, by the way, is one of the incredible stories of qualifying. Let's go with him to continue the story. Let's go for Cam Noy over the wildcard Benoit Paire. Let's go with, Felix against Fabio. This is a match that had gone under my radar. And I tell you what, it's really tricky to call. Given Felix's recent injury travails, I'm going to go with Fabio. And that would round off, I would suggest, a pretty miserable clay court season for the Canadian. Let's go with Kubler over the lucky loser Diaz Acosta from Argentina. By the way, how many Argentinians are in this draw? Unbelievable. Let's go with Offner over Cressy. Let's go with Korda over the fellow American McDonald. Korda is one of this year has been delivering so much promise and yet so little delivery, but fingers crossed he can stay fit for the coming weeks and maybe have a good French Open and who knows, maybe even Wimbledon. Zapata Miralles against Schwartzman. I mean, Schwartzman 1 year ago, but certainly 2 or 3, you would be potentially putting as a finalist. Now we're going for the guy from Argentina to go out in round 1. John Isner, Nuno Borges. We'll go for Nuno Borges there. Not seen enough from Isner this year to suggest otherwise, but he may surprise us. Let's go for Carballes Baena against Emilio Nava. Nava, of course, overcoming Cam Brody. Cam Brody? Why am I saying Cam Brody? Liam Brody en route to the tournament here in proper, but nevertheless, I'll go for Baena to emerge the winner. Cam incoming. Let's go with Tsitsipas over Vesely, Djokovic over Kovacevic. We'll get plenty of thoughts on both Djokovic and Tsitsipas as the tournament progresses, so I'll come to that shortly. In the meantime, let's go with Fucsovics from Hungary overcoming the wildcard Grenier. Van Asch, Cecchinato, that's tricky. I'll go with Cecchinato, friend of the show. Let's go with David Fokina over Artur Fils. And this one is also tricky, but I'm going to go with RBA and the experience over Yibing Wu, but that's a tricky call. Let's go with Pablo Barrias from Peru over Shang. Let's go with Grigspor over Martinez. Or Martinez, I should probably say. Hurkacz Goffin, another tricky one, but I'm going to go with Hurkacz, but it's tricky. That one is 51-49, I would say. Khachanov, though, is a bit more conviction I have there. Let's go with Albot over the wildcard Kipson. Let's go with Wawrinka over Ramos Vinolas, but that's an interesting first round and one I suggest you tune in for. Definitely going for Dan Evans over Kokkinakis. Definitely. Ben Shelton, Lorenzo Sonego. Let's go Ben Shelton there, but with less conviction. Adrian Manarino in the all-French affair against Ugo Humbert. And another all-French affair will have Moutet emerging the winner in this one. Rublev, number 7 seed. Runa over Eubanks. And we'll go Sebastian Baez over Gael Monfils. Fingers crossed Monfils can have a good 6, 12, 18 months on the tour, but I don't think it's going to be beginning in Paris next week, or maybe even on Sunday. By the way, get your thoughts in the comments section below on my predictions, or anything else for that matter. Let's go with Olivieri over Pericard. Let's go with Kecmanovic over the qualifier Vavasori of Italy. Sorondolo, by the way, I have quite some confidence in him. I think it's a tricky first round match against Juan Mimunar, but I would imagine the Argentinian prevailing, and definitely Argentinians in the French Open. Ones to watch. Let's go with Montero over Bonzi, but that's a tricky one. Let's go with, come on Gasquet, one last dance. Please. Fitz over Mo. Tommy Paul over Stricker. Although I don't have a huge amount of confidence in Tommy Paul in this tournament, but playing a lucky loser in Dominic Stricker, I think, is maybe not too bad for him. Nicolas Jarry, he's in good form. Won a tournament this year and already been racking up the wins this week too. Let's go with him to progress. Let's go with Marcos Giron to overcome the qualifier Medjedovic. And this is a tricky one, but we'll go with Jan-Lennard Struff over Lehecka. Of course, Struff, finalist in Madrid. Can he repeat something similar on the slightly slower clay conditions in Paris? Let's see. Let's go for Botic over Thiago Agustin Tirante. Fingers crossed for the pronunciation there. Make sure you hit the like button for that at the very least. Let's go for Zhizheng Zhang over Dusan Lajovic, although that is a difficult one to call. Let's go with Bublik, bringing it against Zepieri. Casper Ruud over Ymer. Sinner, Muller, Sinner every time. Altmaier, Husler, Husler, Altmaier, Hautler, up. I am going for the German, Daniel. No, I'm going for the Swiss, Husler. Let's go for that one. Rusevori, Barrera. Let's go for Rusevori, known by some as Sinner Light. Let's go with Dimitrov over Skatov. Dimitrov, by the way, is also having a good week pre-French Open. Zverev over Lloyd Harris. Lloyd Harris, of course, has missed large chunks of the last 12 to 18 months of tennis. So I do imagine Zverev, who's also missed large chunks of time, nevertheless, to progress. Let's go with Molchan over Gaston in the on kind of clash. Molchan, Gaston. You get where I'm coming from, at least 2 syllables. Karatsev did qualify in the end, despite 1 or 2 issues in his first match, I recall. Let's have him progressing at the expense of Popperin. That's a tricky one, actually, to be fair. I'm going to stick with Karatsev, but I can understand for you sitting at home thinking, maybe Alexei Popperin might win that match. If you think that, get in the comment section below and share your thoughts. Tiafoe, of course, began the clay court season winning in the US. Hasn't quite picked up from there, but let's see if he can gather some momentum in the French capital. Talking of which, Borna Coric had a great Madrid tournament. Can he continue some of that form in Paris? I think in the first round at least he will over Coria. Dominic Thiem, Pedro Cashin, Dominic Thiem. Dominic Thiem to beat the Argentinian Cashin. Tricky. Echeverri. Tricky. I was looking at Echeverri, Trickery. You get it. I'm going to go for Echeverri over Jack Draper, but again, that's a tough one to call. Wouldn't surprise me if you disagree. If you do, you know the drill. Alex de Minaur to overcome Ivashka. Let's go with JJ Wolf. Let's have him beating Nishioka. Yeah, many of you might think I'm crazy, but whatever. Let's go with, maybe it was Jordan Thompson who played Rafa Nadal in the first round last year. No big deal. We continue with Max Purcell. Let's go with, this is a tricky one. I'm going to go with Quinton Hallis over Guido Pella, and I'll go with Daniel Medvedev, albeit that I think that match against Sabot Wild, hopefully I'm saying this something close to how it should sound, maybe one of the Russians' most trickiest encounters. We have done half of the matches, albeit we are only at the end of round 1. Here we go. Let's pick up some speed. Alcaraz over Daniel. Arnaldi over Shapovalov. Musetti over Oscar Otter. Cameron Norrie over Lucas Pouille. Fognini having a little renaissance. Korda over Offner, but that's just hoping and presuming that maybe Korda can recover some of his previous form. Zapata, Morales over Borges. Tsitsipas over Caballes Baena. Djokovic over Fucinic. May drop a set, may not. Don't think it'd be that tricky for the former world number 1. Davidovich Fokina Cecchinato. That is a repeat of an Estoril quarterfinal, I believe, when Cecchinato won. But let's have Davidovich Fokina wreaking revenge for that result and progressing in Paris. RBA over Pablo Berrias. Let's go with Hurkacz over Griekspoor. Have no amount of confidence in Hurkacz right now on the clay, but nevertheless, I haven't get to the 3rd round. Khachanov, a bit more confidence in him over Albot. Evans against Wawrinka. Let's go with Stan the Man, shall we? Shelton against Mannarino. Shelton, Mannarino, Mannarino, Shelton. Honestly, head says Mannarino. Heart says Shelton. Head wins. Mannarino to knock out Ben Shelton in round 2. Rublev over Mutet. Rune Baez. This is a tricky one. I can see this going the distance. I'm going to go with Rune. I mean, he should win. He should win the first 2 sets and then you're well on the way. We'll see. Who knows? Baez might make it tricky for him. But I'm going to go for Rune anyway. Let's go with Alberto Olivieri to upset Kecmanovic. Let's go with Cerundolo over his fellow South American, Montero. I don't know if Argentinians and Brazilians quite have the same rivalry in tennis as they do in football, or for those tuning in North America, soccer. Anyway, on this occasion, I expect Argentina 1, Brazil 0. Or maybe it'll be 3-2 or 3-1. But I'll let you at home do the maths. Richard Gasquet, Taylor Fritz. Taylor Fritz will emerge as the winner there. Let's go with Nicolas Jarry over Tommy Paul. Jan-Lennard Struff over Giron. Botic over Zhang, but Ruud over Bublik. Sinner over Husla. Dimitrov over Rusevori. Zverev over Molchan. Karatsev, Tiafoe. Let's go Karatsev, the qualifier, to continue his run and maybe rekindle some of those 2021 vibes. Dominic Thiem, Borna Coric. Borna Coric, Dominic Thiem. Borna Coric, I'm afraid, has to extinguish the Austrians' flame. Bottom part of the draw, let's go with Echeverry to upset De Minaur, JJ Wolf, and Daniil Medvedev. On we go. Alcaraz, Musetti. Ugh. Draws, hey? Draws. This is where you're in a... What is Korda doing playing against Fognini in the 3rd round of the French Open, bearing in mind what has been going on since the beginning of February? Korda, I guess. I mean, listen, Korda's amazing, but I just haven't seen anything from him since Australia. But if he's fit and firing, Korda wins every time. So let's go with that. Tsitsipas, Djokovic against Davidovich Fokina. That'll be exciting, but Djokovic should win. RBA against Hurkacz. Let's go with... let's go Hurkacz. But, you know... Khachanov over Wawrinka. Did they play recently? No, it was Dimitrov who beat Wawrinka recently, I think. But anyway, let's go Khachanov over Wawrinka. Rublev over Mannarino. Rune over Alberto Olivieri. Cerundolo over Fritz. Struff over Jarry. Struff and Jarry, that'll be exciting. I mean, that's 2 players who've had, you know, some shoots of success this year, and I'll go for Struff in that one. Casper Ruud, I have him to beat Botic van der Zandschulp. I think it's a pretty kind draw for the Norwegian. Casper Ruud in kind draw alert. Yannick Sinner, I will have him to overcome the Bulgarian Dimitrov. Zverev, yeah, I think he beats Karatsev. Coric over Echeverry, and Daniil Medvedev bringing JJ Wolf's run to an end. JJ Wolf in the 3rd round of the French Open. Discuss, comments section below. Alcaraz over Musetti, but that is the first really exciting match, arguably on the men's side of the draw, for me at least, and that's where we're at right now. Korda Tsitsipas, let's go Tsitsipas to win that one. Let's go with Djokovic to overcome Hurkacz. I remember them playing in Madrid last year, fairly non-event, probably would be the same if they clashed in Paris. Rublev over Kachanov, I say that with some conviction, despite maybe the last few weeks' events. Rune, Sorondolo, very interesting, but we'll go for Rune with that one. Struff against Ruud. Struff beat Ruud in Monte Carlo fairly comfortably recently, actually. I know the second set went to a tiebreak, but I think Struff was a double break up in that set. Yeah, I see him following suit or following Struff. That doesn't even work. Don't do that again. Sinner, Zverev, let's go for Sinner in that one, and Medvedev to beat Coric onto the next round. Alcaraz beat Tsitsipas 9 times out of 10, and I expect that to be repeated in Paris. Djokovic, ditto, over Rublev. Beats him 9 times out of 10. In fact, the stats will probably suggest even stronger than that, but you know where I'm coming from. Therefore, Djokovic wins. Holger Rune against Jan-Lennard Struff. Jan-Lennard Struff in the quarterfinals of the French Open. That would have been a huge call 3 weeks ago. Now, not that crazy. The 21 seed, by the way. Someone who was a regular and frequent qualifier until recently. Nevertheless, I'll go with Holger Rune to win that match. Sinner, Medvedev. Sinner, Medvedev. Medvedev, Sinner. Sinner to beat Daniil Medvedev. And on we go. I am already feeling the French Open final. For the first time in some time, I've started to feel a French Open final vibe. I'm sharing it with you right now because I'm getting it right now. And that French Open final is between Carlos Alcaraz and Holger Rune. They have barely played each other. I believe once. Hey, I may be wrong on that, but I think they've played each other once before. In Paris-Bercy last year, when it went to a second set tiebreak and Alcaraz had to retire. Now, I see them playing again in the French capital. And this time, I see Alcaraz winning to secure his first French Open title and his second Grand Slam overall. Get in the comment section below. Share your thoughts. Share the video with your friends or enemies. And I'll speak to you all very, very soon. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.